All right. Good morning. Let's go ahead and get started. Should be a short lecture, and I'll talk about why and what is planned for today. Looks like everybody is already kind of setting in the group settings, so that's good. We'll start with our. So today, I will go ahead and introduce the final project. And the reason is so that you guys have enough time. We have a off coming class holiday coming up on Tuesday. There's no class on Tuesday. Okay, so next time I'll see you guys on Thursday, and then week number 23 and 24 are dedicated to project. But if I'm going to introduce it today so that you have a lot more time. Okay, so that you can get the thinking out of the way, you can have the design and everything ready, and kind of start working on it. Okay. And next Thursday, your homework is also due, the last one. Um, what else? Okay. So today, final projects, and I'll talk about the final projects. After that, on Thursday, Saturday, and Tuesday would be our last lesson, last lecture lesson. So we are going to talk about data structures and algorithms. Not strictly JavaScript, not strictly Node.js or anything. It's more from the concept wise. Of course, we know JavaScript, so we'll be coding all those algorithms in JavaScript, but those are more from the concept wise. It's usually a course if you do a computer science degree, it's like a CS 101 or maybe like a data structure course. That's what they usually cover. So we'll briefly look at those some of those concepts in the last week. Okay, so that will be the last week of our scheduled lecture, and we'll start that on Thursday. Okay, so today, final projects, the groups are there, everything is already, Ethan slacked out the groups, that's what you guys have sent in. Okay, now, again, as I said, introducing today so that you guys have enough time to kind of come up with an idea. This time I did not make any groups, well, except maybe the last one, but everybody else has kind of come up with their own dream team. So expectations are high, right? So you have assembled what you think you're going to. This is a team that you guys would want to work, and this is what. So this kind of ups the bar a little bit. So the expectations are high, and the project two was really good. The amount of effort that went in, it was actually that's probably the best one of all the cohorts that I have taught. In project two, when we were in project two, I don't think I have seen a more good projects in my previous cohorts. So project three, we talked about the requirements, what you have to do. These are some of the expectations. Again, not 100% required, but it would really help you guys, especially when you're thinking about an idea. I mean, usually, I'm not sure if you guys would be able to come up with something or not. Try to see if there's some value in it. Okay, again, expectation not required. Similarly, if you see point number six, it says utilize some form of project management system like GitHub, Agile board. I would highly recommend. If anything from this you want to do, number six is number one. Okay, I would highly recommend today when you sit down for your idea. I will talk about what you have to submit today. Please try and give it a try. It really works. It really keeps everybody informed. It's a good visualization. Everybody knows what everybody else is working on. Okay, you can track. Again, it's not um, like how many hours you are putting in. It's not for that purpose. It's for the benefit of the project as a whole, right? It's not to track any individual. That's not the purpose of these project management tools are. It's what tasks are being worked on and who needs help. Okay, somebody has time, somebody else can pick up the task and do it, right? Eventually, it's for the project. So please look into it. Either use GitHub, or if you are familiar with some other project management tool, um, such as Trello, or there are like few more free ones out there. You are most welcome to use any one of them. Okay. All right. Let's see. Number three as well. I mean, I don't have to say this. I mean, I saw project twos. I think almost all projects made sure that it renders on mobile phones. All those things were taken care of. So that's good. Just make sure you continue with that effort. Okay. Now, requirements. Talked about this on Thursday. I'll go them over them one more time. Must use React.js. And then I'll post a screenshot, or Ethan or Lee, could you please just take a screenshot of this one and post it on the channel? Thank you. Okay. React.js required. All right. Must use Node Express web server. Again, required and obvious. Otherwise, your APIs are not going to work. You have a choice between MySQL or Mongo. Okay. Discuss. Make sure everybody on the group is okay. Whatever you guys decide on, pick one. If you're using MySQL, make sure you're using SQLize. If you're using MongoDB, make sure you're using Mongoose. Okay. So pick one, whichever you think you want to work with. All right. Get and post routes. Again, obvious. Make sure you have all the routes. Get, post. I would say put and delete also. Probably you need to update something. You need to delete something from your database as well. Okay. Should be deployed in Heroku. Would not work in GitHub. So make sure it is deployed in Heroku. And these are the things I would say start from the beginning. Okay. Deployment to Heroku, people really leave it to the last minute. That's the first thing that you should be doing. Okay. You should set up your project, everything GitHub, create the pipeline, either use Travis CI. You can look at my previous project, that's what I used. Set the pipeline, set everything up, set your Heroku project so that it just loads up a empty React application. Okay, you set up your database, whichever it is. Is it MLab or what's the SQL one in Heroku? What is it? Jaws, yeah, Jaws or MLab. Set it up, set everything up, set the deployment up, and then start working on it. Right? People usually leave it to the end, and when you have a lot more code, it's a lot more difficult to debug and find out why Heroku is not working. Okay, I would highly recommend start with that first. Utilize two libraries, packages, or technologies that we have not discussed. This is other than authentication, because in this project, authentication is a must, right? You can look into Passport.js from the previous one. Try to find out how would you do it in React. Otherwise, I mentioned one called Auth0. They have a lot of tutorials, videos, Auth0 with React. Okay, even if you just Google Auth0 with React, you will find a lot of examples. Okay, highly recommended. People have used Auth0. Of course, it does require some documentation to go through it, understand what's going on, but it's not like anything impossible or difficult. You guys should be able to figure it out. Okay, highly. But again, if you find any other authentication, Firebase is there. You can use Firebase if you want. Google API authentication, Password.js is there. Whatever you feel like is better for you. Okay. Must have a polished front end. Uh, Obvious. Must have folder structure that meets MVC. Model view controller. Um, Look at the last activities that we did. You can use the create React Express template as a starting point, and then look at the books activities. They all follow MVC. So that requirement is already there. If you're following the same pattern, if you're following the same template, this requirement should already be completed. Okay. Again, if you're doing on your own, if you want to create React app on your own and follow everything, just make sure it follows the model view controller pattern. Okay. Need some clarification, make sure you go and read up on MVC. It's good for understanding as well. Okay, a lot of companies use MVC when they are making a full stack app, right? Coding standards, when you're reviewing somebody else's code on your team, make sure you are actually reviewing it, not just pushing a button so that it goes into master. Okay, make sure your repositories are restricted. Nobody can push directly, and all that stuff that we have been doing from our project one, project two. Okay, so those go without saying. Once you're done with today's task, if you want, you can sit together, create a project, make sure everybody is added to that project. um, Nobody has access to master directly. Everybody is able to push, pull, review, and everything. Okay. API keys, of course, make sure if you're using any third-party library, again, not required in the project, but if you are, if you're pulling data from somewhere else, make sure those API keys are not exposed in your GitHub repository. Okay, Heroku has a you already know Heroku has a global variables. You can store all that information over there. Okay, so that is not visible. Right. Any questions? Any clarification that you guys need? Any group needs clarification about the requirements? Is everybody clear? Okay. Now, when you are doing the presentation, it's going to be the same 10-minute presentation, but this time I want the presentation to be distributed among all the members. Okay. Make sure I want everybody to say something. All right. Pick a part, divide it into 4 or 3 parts, the presentation, and make sure that everybody gets a chance to um, say something about the project. Okay. We didn't do that in project one, project two, maybe, but project three, I want everybody to participate. Make sure everybody is talking about the presentation. So make sure when you prepare your presentation, divide it into 4 or 3 parts, so that everybody gets to say something about the project. Okay. Is that clear? Okay, we'll talk about the dates and everything. Okay, okay. This is a rough plan that I want to follow this time. Um, so you have 4 things. Again, the last one is a more important something that you have to deliver. Everything else, for example, today I want you guys to work on plan, design, and research. Okay, I'll explain what it comprises of. But basically, you're going to sit together for the remainder of the class, come up with a project, design it, what everybody is going to be working on, how are your tasks going to be divided. Ideally, you should have at least a agile board, a scrum board, some task. If you have time, set up the project, make sure everybody is a contributor to that project. Okay. We'll talk about the next ones. These are every week. I'm going to just take a status call. I'm going to be asking every group where they are. Is there something that they can show us? Anything they're working on? What's going on? If there are any blockers, something that is stopping them, or they are worried that they're not going to finish the project in time. Okay, so I'll go through these milestone every week. It would be more like a casual discussion, just getting an update from you guys. Okay. All right. So for today, as I said, It says a detail. The first one is what your application is going to do, some description about your application. So that's kind of clear. Okay. Give me a document, Word document or a Google Doc, please submit before leaving the class today. Tell me about the project, your group members, everything, if you have a project name. It says a detailed set of screen by screen. You don't have to give me a detailed screen. A simple pencil pen drawn diagram would do. If you want to use a UI UX software, that's fine also. However you want to do it, right? Just give me a high overview, a picture, something that kind of tells me what you guys are making, right? You have a description and a picture, so I can relate. Okay, this is what you're going to be making. Okay. When you're coming with an idea, make sure it's project 3 caliber, not something super, okay, I just want to get it over with. Please make sure you put in an effort, come up with a better idea. Okay. Breakdown by roles, of course, 4 and 3. So make sure who's going to be working on front end, back end, setting up the database, or everybody's going to be working on everything. So little by little, some of the tasks. Okay. If you are using a agile board, then you will have a schedule as well, right? When you create a task, you will have like a timeline to it as well. You will say, okay, by in 2 days I'm going to complete this. I would highly recommend, when you are creating a task, create a task small enough that can be completed in a day or two at most. Okay. You don't have that much time. You have time, but you don't have a time where you can create a task that you say, I'm going to take a week to complete this task. That's not going to work. Okay. The project is almost like 3 weeks due date, so a week task is not going to work. So sit with your team. Highly recommended 1 day task, if not 2 day at most. Okay, come up with a task that you think you can complete in 1 day or even in hours. Like, okay, in 4 hours I should be able to set up my database in Heroku. Okay, in 3 hours or in a day I should be able to create my project, create a pipeline, create a dummy project that gets deployed to my Heroku, right? Some kind of a small task that we will complete in a day, right? I'm going to come up with a screen with just a nav bar in a day and a half, maybe 2 days. Okay, so some small tasks that you think you can complete in a day or two at most. All right. So that will be the schedule for the task. Um, your agile board today, when you have your task timeline and everything over there, please take a screenshot, send me, put it in the document and send that as well towards the end of the class. Okay. Any questions, any clarification that you need in any of these 5 tasks that are due today? Number 2, I already spoke. You can just draw it out, take a picture, and put it in the document. That's also fine. Okay, but please make sure before 2 o'clock, send me a document with this stuff over here, so that I can understand what you guys are going to be working on. Okay, and please don't just submit and just leave. Please wait for my response. I make sure I respond to every single message that I get for the project. Just make sure that I respond to you saying, okay, looks good, or if I have any questions. Okay, just don't submit and just leave and everybody's like offline. I'm like messaging and nobody's like replying. Okay, don't do that. All right. Any questions? Make sure you pick up a team lead. So that would be the team lead's responsibility is that he or she is making sure everybody is on the tasks are working, the scrum board is updated, um, um, he or she is receiving communication from every member of the group, just making sure everybody is on task and everybody is kind of working in harmony. Okay. All right, any questions? Everybody good? Okay. Let's see. All right, this I'm going to skip this. You don't have to give such a detailed one. Anything, uh, just a simple drawing will also do. Okay. Any questions? Okay, so I don't have anything else for today. I want to complete this as soon as possible so that you guys get time for your discussion and everything. So if you already have a project, just create a document, send it to me, and that's it for today. Okay. If you are going to start discussing everything, you have until 2. Take breaks, up to you. I'm not going to officially announce a lunch break or anything. You guys take your break whenever you want. Just make sure submit that idea before 2 o'clock today. Okay? All right? That should be it. Please start working on your projects. Let me know if you need any help, any questions. We'll be here.